everyone. So welcome to my Flosstube channel. So this is Coco and I'm Zoe, and this is Coco Creates. Oh, is it a very quick intro today? Okay. She wants to go back outside. We have a water fountain outside, and of course she likes to drink the water from that instead of, you know, out of any of the bowls of water we have in the house. Don't you? Yeah. Okay, bye then. Off she goes. So we have finished building our catio. So it's like a little enclosed patio space, so she can go out now and I don't have to worry about sort of wandering off anywhere. So yeah, so I hope you can't hear the water fountain too much. I didn't check that. It's solar powered, so if the sun goes in it'll go off, so we don't have to worry. Anyway, but yes, so welcome to my channel. So it's Flosstube channel, so here we talk about sort of crafty things, mainly cross stitch, a little bit of knitting, have a little bit of diamond painting too. And then we've got some plans and some goals for the end of the year. And I did do a little, like a stitch with me, but like how I stitch two-handed. But I'll talk about that later as well. So yeah, so there we go. So here on this channel, Black Lives Matter, love is love, no human is legal, science is real, feminism is for everyone, and kindness is important. So yeah, so I try and live by those values, and I always say that if I mess up, please call me out, call me in, message me, whatever. You know, if I use someone's incorrect pronouns, if I say the wrong things, you know, because whilst I try and do my best, ultimately I'm not perfect, and I am going to make mistakes, and I think the only way we're going to learn is when we do sort of help each other with those mistakes and say, oh, you said this thing, maybe you shouldn't have said it, or whatever, you know, and get better at that. So yeah, so we're going to get started on my whips. So I didn't work on too much this month in terms of cross stitching, because I had one project that I had the bright idea of starting for a Christmas present, and then it turned out to be more work than I thought. So, but we'll get to that later. It's the knitting projects that will come in the knitting. So what I started on working first, well, it wasn't quite first because I picked and went between them, but I will show this one first. Now this is the temperature tree from a couple of years ago from Stitching Mummy, on Etsy and on Flosstube. I did not bring my piece of card in, so it's A4 piece of paper we'll have to do. So here we go. So this is the temperature tree. So this is done on 36 count cloud stone, so it's like a very slight sort of beige grey mottle, only very slight. I didn't want it on white, so I got this one. It's from Fabric Flair, or from Sew It All in the UK, which supplies that. And yeah, so I managed to finish all the branches, which was my goal this month. So I'm doing this with one strand over two, and I used one of Silk of the Months for the brown, and then I'm using just regular plain thread for the leaves. But yeah, so I just picked one colour, and I'm just going to obviously stitch until I either run out of leaves or run out of that colour, and do it that way, rather than doing each colour individually and having to work with all the threads at the same time. So this is the tree for 1991, which was the year I was born. So a very nice man that runs the sort of local weather, what's it called? You know, like archive, that's the word. Managed to find all the temperature data for that year, for where I live. So, and sent those to me. So that was the year I was born, and then I'm going to be doing another tree, the same for this current year we're in. So when I turned 30, because I thought it might be nice to compare the two, yeah, and go from there. So yeah, so this is my 1991 tree. I'm hoping to at least get this one done by the end of the year. So it was on Pattern Keeper. I did 1,011 stitches this month, and I'm about 65–66% of the way through. But obviously now it's just the leaves that are left, which I think take slightly longer because there's a lot of, you know, starting and stopping and moving around. but I am still hoping to get at least this tree done this year. My original goal was to have 2 done, but there's no way I'm going to get this done under the tree, so no. So I might end up working on this, sort of having this upstairs in bed and sort of doing a few leaves at night before I go to sleep, but we'll see. So yeah. Oh, and that's a needle minder from Gina's Unique Needle Minders. So it's a little flowery skull. So that was that piece. And yeah, that's on 36 count. I don't know if I mentioned that. Oh, I didn't make a pile for me to put things I'd already shown you. I planned most things, but I forgot that. Right. So next I will also show you, I might as well show you this piece and I'll do my heids in a moment. So this is Castle Walls by Ink Circles. This one I started January before last, I believe. Yeah, I think this was my New Year, New Start in 2020. I had hoped to get it finished in 2020. Obviously I did not. And I don't think I'm going to get it finished this year either, but we'll see. So I'll put a screenshot up of where it was last time, because I've got to take a video. I've got to take a photo, so I'll take a screenshot from last month's video. So I'll pop that up here. But yeah, so I'm just over halfway across now. This one is just a paper chart, so it's not on Pattern Keeper, so I don't have an actual figure for my percentage of the way through. But this is where I am now. So this is again on 36 count, even with, this is Cloud Grey, even weave, again fabric flare, and that is where I am now. So yeah, that's the top. So yeah, so this month I basically worked along this bottom section, so I managed to get this sort of light blue section finished and this piece, and work along the border as well. So yeah, just off my halfway mark. So I have 3 more big sections to do here, and then obviously the little pieces and the borders. So, you know, not too much, but we'll get there. So yeah, so this is using Silks for You silks again, so 2 hanks in PR 147 for the light and PR 069 for the dark. I don't know if that shows up better in the sun or not, I don't know, but yeah. But this colour I know is notoriously hard to show up on the cameras, but it has such lovely variegation, this light blue colour, so yeah, so I do like that. I think I did buy another hank of it to use in a different project. What project, I don't know, but I'm sure I will think of one at some point in the future. So yeah, so that is that one. So that one I put in 1,600 stitches. So then I've got my 2 heids. So these are the last 2 projects that I worked on this month. So the first one is Bath Time by Selena Fennick. So here's what it's going to look like, and here is a picture of what it looked like last month. Oh, let me try and stick that back on there so I don't lose it. And here we go. So let's try and turn it around. So I did unscrew it a little bit. Mainly I worked on the border, so I walked sort of all the way up to the top. I've reached the top. I've reached the corner, the top right, top left. I've reached the other corner, the top corner. So yeah, so I've reached the corner now, so which is good. So, but yeah, it's mainly just background down here, so I figured background is background, you didn't need me to unroll all of that. But yeah, managed to work some more on her tail and come down here. So just on a bit more of the background. I think I'm going to fit a bit more of a hair and then onto the bath this month. So I managed to do 5,478 stitches, and I got my percentages way off last month. So I'm now 35.4% of the way through. So my goal is to get to 40% by the end of the year, and to do that I need to do another 10,500 stitches, or 5 1/4 each month. So fingers crossed I'll be able to get that done sort of this year. I am going to try and focus on on that for this one, just because I do want to get this one done in the 5 years that I've set myself. And obviously if I can't even do 1 year, you know, it'll straggle along. So yeah. So again, needle minders are either from Denkai Designs or Gina's Unique Boutique needle minders. And this frame is, I don't actually know. So I don't know what I was going to say there, but I don't know. Oh, and these are like mattress sheet, like clips you get to keep your sheets on your mattress. So these that I use to help side tension. Mainly because I didn't know side tensioners were a thing when I bought these. But also they're cheap and they work just as well. Obviously I clip it onto the selve edge so it doesn't damage the fabric here. Obviously this side there is no selve edge, but I have overlocked the end. And also, I mean, as you can see, the corner of my project comes to about here. So I have a large border there. So even if it did damage the end few inches, somehow, I don't know how it damaged that much, but even if it did, I've got plenty, so it wasn't a concern for them. I mean, it hasn't damaged it so far, and I've been using them for nearly 2 years now. So yeah, so but there we go. So that was that one. Oh, and that is 1/1 full cross on 25 count, off-white even weave. So that's that one. And then my fourth and final project, I hope I unravelled this enough, I wasn't too sure. But this is, sorry, there's a needle on the back of it. This is my Super Size Max Colour Haid, Amazing Animal Kingdom by Amy Stewart. So I'll pop a picture in of what it's going to look like, because this is not a very good picture, and a picture of where it was last time. So, and this month I managed to finish my strip down, so I'm going in 20 stitch wide diagonals up and down. I believe I'm now almost to the halfway point up the side. I'm either just at it or just over it, I can't remember which. So yeah, so I'm almost halfway up, which is good. But yeah, so managed to come down here. This is the start of a like mountain goat, white mountain goat. So you can kind of just see its little nose a little bit, but hoping on the next pass I'll get its face in. Managed to finish the little baby polar bear down here. And then I just started working on my next diagonal up, and this is a baby sea lion, white sea lion that's just appearing here, so I'll get some more of that in soon. So this one I did exactly 4,500 stitches this month, which was my goal, and so I'm now 8.95%, so I'm almost at 9%, and my goal is to get to 10 by the end of the year, which is 8,000 stitches away. So I have to do 4,000 a month for this one. This is my 20-year project. So this one, if I don't quite meet my goal at the end of the year, I'm not going to be as upset, because I still have 18 years to make up that deficit. Whereas, you know, if I don't hit the goal on the other one, it's harder to spread that deficit out over 3 years than 18. So yeah, obviously you can see my back here where I roll it on. It's very confetti heavy, this piece, so the back is very thick. This is 28 count 2/1 half cross, or tent stitch, and you can't see any of this back through the front, so it doesn't matter to me that it's a little bit thick in places, especially where there's a lot of confetti, because it doesn't affect the front of the pattern, and it's not like there's one big knot in one spot, like it's quite spread out, so when it comes to framing, you're not going to notice it, so it doesn't worry me. Also, done is better than perfect, so I want to have it done and finished rather than making sure everything is, you know, perfect on it, if that makes sense. But yeah, so this is a frame that my dad made. If you go back a few videos, I do go through how this was made, and if you wanted to make your own, how you would do that. But yeah, and again, the mattress, the side tension, sort of bed sheet clips. on there to help that. And again, that piece, I've overlocked the edges, so there isn't a self-edged on the top and bottom of that, so it's just where the overlocking is, and they're pulling on. But also again, there is a good 4-inch border, so even if it did damage the little bit that it's gripping, it wouldn't affect anything for the design or the framing. But again, they've been on there 2 years and there isn't any damage yet, so there we go. And that was all my cross stitch. So I only did 12,585 stitches this month, October, so pretty similar to what I did in September, which was sad because I wanted to do more stitches but I didn't. Obviously I didn't. But yeah, so I ended up doing a lot more on my knitting, which I'll show you in a bit. I did have 4 days where I managed to get 1,000 stitches in, or over 1,000. So you know, I'm still trying to get to that each day. Not each day, you know. Well, I would like to get to it each day, but some days I don't stitch that often. But each day that I know I've got a full day of stitching, I do try and get to my 1,000. I think 3 of those days I literally just got to the 1,000 stitches and then stopped because I was tired. I was like, no, I need to do a few more. I just need to get to that. I just need to make it to. And then as soon as I was there, I was like, yeah, bedtime. So that was it. But yeah, so there we go. I have one more stitching project to show. This is my mum's stitching, so that I showed last month. So I can't remember what it's called because I didn't bring the pattern over here with me. It's a dimensions kit that was in a giveaway from Kerry over at Kitty Stitches, that I won on behalf of my mum. So I wanted my mum to stitch. Is it Coastal View? Might be. I could have made that up. But yeah, so she's doing it on the kit fabric with obviously the called for colours and blends. 18 count ivory Ada. And yeah, this is the top corner. So there's like an archway, which we're just getting in here. So yeah, so she's coming on well with that. I do like the dimensions kits. I like the way they look. Sometimes they're a pain to stitch with, you know, especially the dimensions gold, sort of when you've got half stitches and then half stitches with 2, 3, 4 strands and 4 crosses with different numbers. But you know, the effect is worth it. So there we go. So yeah, that's all my cross stitch. So I will do my shout outs and all my other cross stitchy bits now, and then I'll do the other bits later, so that if you don't really care for that, then you don't have to watch it. So a couple of shout outs. So I have 3 shout outs to do this month. So 3, not necessarily new people that I've watched this month. I think I had been watching Flosstabilities before, but anyway. So she's back. They've just done a video, so it was Flosstube number 13 and 14. It was 2 in 1. And that in it, about 10 minutes in, she goes through her autumn decor. So how she's designed her space for autumn, and some of the cross stitches she put there were lovely, and just the way she's laid it out was really pretty. I was like, I wish I could, you know, I wish I could decorate for the seasons, but I don't have things to decorate for the seasons, so I'm just like, I need to buy things like that. But I don't get around to it. So I like to just look at other people's and, you know, appreciate it. But anyway, so yes, I think it's about 10-12 minutes in. So if you just want to go and have a look, and she sort of does a little tour and tells you what all the pieces are. And then I watched, this is a new to me person, so A Million Tiny Stars. I don't know how many videos she's done, but so far. But her latest one, she was showing some of her progress. She did have a finish, that you'll have to go and have a look at. But also she's working on a Haid Fairy Dancer, which is basically the minute she just got the flower, sort of one of the big, you know, big flower that she's working on, and the colours in it are gorgeous. And that's, so it might be creeping onto my list maybe. You know, one day when I have no other whips to be doing. But yeah, but you need to go and have a look at hers. And then Tea and Stitches, which is quite a new channel. I believe she has had a booktube channel. So she mentioned it in like her first video, which was like 2 months ago. So she had a booktube channel but she also does stitching, so now she's changed it into a Flosstube, or now this is her Flosstube. it doesn't really matter. Go and watch Sarah. So she has a cat as well, which is always good. And she's just started, I think last month, We Three by Lindy Stitches, and she's the cat in it is spitting image of her cat. So that's what she's done that for. And yeah, and the fabric, she's gone it with a sort of teal sparkly fabric, which was really good. So you need to go and have a look at her. But yeah, so that is my shout outs. I am also going to insert probably in a bit. I did do, so I was watching the live that Kaylee does. So she does a live each week on a Sunday. I believe it's Sunday morning where she is in America. It's afternoon where I am, 2:30 GMT. But yeah, so Kaylee Cross Stitch is her channel, because I double checked before coming on. So it's Kaylee Cross Stitch. And we were talking there about how people stitch one-handed, two-handed. Right, and I mentioned that I stitch two-handed with 2 needles. So because basically when I first sort of heard people talking about stitching two-handed, that's what I thought they meant. So that's how I taught myself to do it. And it turns out that's not what people meant. But hey, and she basically, Kelly was like, no, I need to see this. So I've got about a 10-minute video that I'll pop in, basically just of me stitching. It was working on my ink circles piece, so you can just see how I do it. I did chat through it a little bit, but you know, if you don't want to watch it, you can skip it, that's fine. But I will put that one in now. Right, I hope this is at the right angle, because I can't quite see the camera. So hopefully you can see it. You can see a tiny bit of the pattern, but I need to have it there to stitch from, so I've folded it down really small. So I'm at a bit of an odd angle, but hopefully you'll be able to see roughly what I'm doing. So she says, so where do we start? So yeah, so I've got one piece here. Both of these threads are nearly all gone, but we'll go for a little bit. And I always start with one thread on the front and one on the back, so that I'm not going to get them tangled. So as I'm pulling one up, the other one gets pulled down. So I always have my dominant hand underneath, and sort of we go from there. And then obviously as one hand's busy pulling up, the other one is, you know, already pushing down. So it's, I don't know, but I thought this is what a lot of people did. So when you said that you'll stitch two-handed, I assumed that you meant like this. So I thought, well, I better learn how to stitch like that, because, you know, that sounds quite fast, you know, quite efficient. And yeah, and then it turns out after watching a bunch of Stitch With Me's that this isn't what most people mean. So, apparently so. But yeah, does anyone else stitch like this? If so, please let me know that I'm not the only one that, you know, stitches weird. So, which would be nice. But yeah. So I'm just going to stitch for a little bit so that you can watch what I'm doing. And yeah. It is a bit difficult being at this angle, so. But yeah, I wouldn't use this method on anything with a lot of confetti, just because it's not very efficient. Obviously, if you're changing each colour, you know, you need both hands to change colour, so then it means that one of your hands isn't really doing anything. Sorry, one of your needles isn't doing anything. So, but yeah. But on a project where you're just using one colour, yeah, it works quite well. I think. And by always working, you know, a few inches, well, I say a couple of inches away from each other, you're not going to end up looping through yourself, because your needles are, your loops are far enough away. Yeah. I really should have put a light on before I started this, shouldn't I? See, it took me so long to set up my tripod that it's dark. So, no, it's not too bad. Sometimes my hands get a little bit out of sync, especially when one thread's longer than the other, because obviously it takes, you know, longer to pull through. So I think somebody's setting off fireworks. It is about, what, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it is quite light outside. So I don't know what the purpose of that is, but you know. So I apologise if you can hear the dog barking next door as well, because she doesn't like fireworks. Oh, gone through the wrong hole there. Alright, so we got two. Okay, I think I'm at the end of my thread now. Yeah, I can only just about get it on. Yes, I do play thread chicken, regardless of the fact that I do have, you know, 100 meters or however big these hanks come in. But yes, I will stitch until the very, very tippy end. But yeah, I can't get another one like that. So that is how I stitch sort of two-handed, but also two-needled. So does anyone else stitch like that? Please tell me I'm not the only one that stitches odd. So, but yeah, you know, and so yeah, I hope you could sort of see that as well. With the camera, that's probably the best angle I could sort of work out with my tripod. So yeah, obviously if you couldn't see it so good, if you got any tips on okay, I will finish this thread off. There you go. There you go. It's not the shortest end I've finished with, but you know, not too bad. So yeah, so if you've got any tips for filming stitching these, that would be great. But if not, but yeah, so thank you for watching if you did, and yeah, so I will say back to, you know, regularly scheduled programming, and I will see you all soon. So yes, love you lots. Bye. So welcome back. So if you watched it, if you skipped it, hello. But yeah, so that's how I stitch two-handed. I don't stitch on every project like that. Projects that have a lot of confetti, I don't, because of the amount of times I'm stopping and changing colour. It's not worth having the two needles because I'm stopping so frequently. So pieces with lots of colours, lots of confetti, I don't. So my heids, I don't do that because of the sheer amount of colour changes there is. But my smaller pieces with one or two, you know, one colour definitely. But yeah, anything that's less confetti, that's how I tend to stitch. Obviously unless I'm doing something else at the same time, in which case I only use one hand because my brain can't cope with doing too many things. So there we go. But yeah, now the reason I was talking about my goals and that I wasn't sure what I was going to be working on is because I've made a new game for myself, which some of you might find a bit geeky. I actually quite enjoyed putting this together. I sat upstairs for it took me like 2 days to put this together. But I have made myself a Wipopoly board. So it's a spin-off from obviously the traditional Monopoly, but I've replaced all of the buildings in it with whips. So because I found this year there was so many projects that I just never got round to, because it was like I wanted to stitch on my heids, I wanted to stitch on this, I had this project to work on, you know, that so many of my projects just haven't been touched since the start of the year, or even since last year. And I realised that I just wanted to make progress, even if it was only a little bit of progress. I just wanted to be working on some of them, and then hopefully get some of the smaller ones finished, which would be nice. So yeah, so I thought, well, this would do it. So because this takes a lot of the thinking out, so I don't have to think, oh, what am I going to work on next? Because this is going to take that out. So I'm going to roll it. I still have to cut it, and then I'm going to stick it on some cardboard and fold it, so it's a bit smaller. But this is my Monopoly board, or Wipopoly board that I designed. So it's sort of templated off of the regular Monopoly and the Super add-on and the Monopoly Mega Edition that were basically put together, because I didn't have enough spaces for my whips in the regular one. So that's my excuse anyway. Now, by having it this big, it meant that some of my key projects I managed to get on here multiple times, like my heids are on here 2 or 3 times, so I've got more of a chance of landing on them throughout the month to hopefully keep up the progress on them. And I've replaced obviously a lot of things, so the go has been replaced with number of stitches instead of collecting money. So and the stations are now sort of add 500 stitches onto my Haid, whichever one I need to work my goal on. The electric company, that's my newest whip, my oldest whip, smallest, just so I can work on some different things. But yeah, so this is my way. So how this will work is obviously I will roll the dice, and then whichever piece I land on, I will times the number on the dice roll by 100. So if I rolled a 6, I would be doing 600 stitches on the piece that I land on. So I would never be stitching sort of less than 200, because the smallest you can do from 2 dice is double 1, which is 2. And the most I would have in a roll is 1200 or 1200 stitches. So I figured that would give me a bit of progress on each one, and I've got a chance of working on a lot more pieces there. So there's also a few new starts on here, because I have put the free parking is now my new start square. So if I want to start something new, I have to have landed on that to earn my new start. But there are about 4 new starts that I've planned into next year, so they're already on here. Obviously if I land on them before I've rolled to let myself have a new start, then I can't start them yet, so I'll have to re-roll and go for the next one. But yes, and there's also a special box up here that says Flosstube sale, because I figure chances are something's going to come up through the year that someone will start, and I will say I want to start it with them, but it won't be on my board. So then it can have that special little box up there with the stars on. But yeah, so obviously if anyone wants like a more detailed run through, let me know and I'll go through the squares in a lot more detail. Main thing is I know what all the squares mean. So yeah, so I'm probably going to try and vlog a little bit more. So obviously after I've done my stitches, I will get on the camera, show you my progress, and then show you my new roll, and obviously what I'm going to be working on next. That's my goal. Whether it works like that is another matter. Obviously we'll see how we get on. So yeah, so all my whips on here. The only things I need to finish are the little cards. So I've got most of them done. So the travel cards and the chance. So chance is full of all sort of other stitching prompts. So like work on something that uses the colour blue, or you know, I've got things on there like work on some, you know, something that you started last year, work on something by a certain designer. They're all in my chance things. My community chest is where I need your help, because I thought, well, I don't know what else to put there, so I thought what I would do is I would ask the community. So I'd be asking you all if you have any ideas for what I could have on my card for my community chest, to put them below. So whether it's going to be to go to a certain square on the board, to work on a certain project, do a certain number of stitches, whatever you can think of, and I will pop it on a card and I will put it in there, and we'll see what we get to. So yeah, so anything you can think of can go in there. But yeah, so that's my new board, so that's exciting. But yeah, I'm well proud of that. So but yeah, so that's my new project. So I'm just going to roll that back up for the year. So like I said, I'm hoping to still sort of pop that back down. So I will still try and be working on my bath time to get those stitches in. So if I don't roll on it towards the end of the month, if I haven't rolled, I will have to obviously stop that and go to stitching on that just to get my stitches in, just to get to the end of this year. And then next year what I'll do is I'll sort of give it, you know, maybe 3 months, maybe it's a quarter of the year, and see, you know, have I reached a quarter of my progress, and if not, might have to rethink how I'm doing my stitches on them. I might have to increase the number, so say double the roll to double the stitches each time, just so I can get my stitches in on those to meet those goals. But yeah, and also every time I finish a whip, then I can replace the square either with a new piece, or obviously duplicate it from another piece that I want to work on a bit more often. But that will come to it when it does. I'm not due to finish anything too soon, so there we go. And yeah, so that's my stitching. One thing that I am going to be starting this month, so one new start. So I had my goals for obviously those 2 pieces, my Haids, and I'm going to be working on this. But one new start that I'm going to be starting today, I haven't actually got it here with me because I am highly organised, as you can tell, is a part of, from a designer that I can't remember who they are. Future Zoe will have to write it up here somewhere because past Zoe is useless and didn't actually look that up first. But basically I bought this designer's whole thing. So on Etsy they have obviously all their designs, they do, but they also do like a lifetime membership pack where you get access to all of their designs, and then obviously all their new ones as they come in, they put them on. So it's on a Dropbox, and obviously every new design they do goes into that Dropbox and you have access to all of them. And I believe it was about half price a few months ago, or you know, last year or something, and so it cost me about £30 and that bought everything. The reason that was because I looked at a couple of their set packs that I wanted, and I think that one of them was about £10, one of them was about 12. I thought, well, that's 22 for another £8. I can just get everything they have, so I did that. And in there they have mini masterpieces set. So I'll put a photo up here of the actual listing, and it's full of I think there's 50. Is it 50 designs or 40? Sort of mini, and they're about 30 by 40 stitches ish each, so they're very small, but they are really good quality. You know, you can tell what the painting is from it. And I'm going to be starting on Starry Night by Van Gogh for Kaylee Cross Stitch's Van Gogh Vember sale. So I'll put the hashtag up here, so if you're going to do a Van Gogh piece, hashtag that for her. And yeah, actually talking to Van Gogh, Kaylee she's just started in her last Stitch With Me live, Starry Night Cats Haid, which is lovely, and I love the needle winder she's got in it, so you need to go and have a look. But yeah, so I'm going to be going and starting that one today, and obviously tagging where we go. It'll be I'm going to do it similar to how Kaylee's doing it. I'm going to be doing on 28 count over 1. I'll probably do the full cross. I know that 28 count I'm doing half cross, but a smaller piece I'll do it like that, because my goal is to get quite a few of them finished, and I'm going to get some little frames. This is going to sound really corny to anyone that doesn't actually have a cat, but I'm going to get some little frames, and I'm going to make like a little mini art gallery for Coco. So I'm going to actually frame them and stick them, you know, on the wall, but like at her level, just because I thought that would be really cute. Anyone that doesn't have a cat's going to think that's like really weird, but you know, whatever. Oh, Coco, oh, hello. Did you hear us talking about you? Yeah. Oh. So yeah. What do you think of your new little art gallery that I'm making? Is there going to be catnip on it? If there's catnip, she'll have it. Oh, oh, you can't stand there. There you go. So, but yeah, so that's all my stitching. So if you don't want to look at my knitting and crochet, then that's everything. And yeah, and I will see you soon. So I'll say to run now. For anyone that's staying, I've got my crochet show. I have a couple of finished projects. This, I finally managed to get it blocked. This is from, is it Crime and Knitting? Hercule Poirot shawl. And it's sort of asymmetrical stitch, half moon. I didn't manage to get mine to block out this section where you started. Still, you know, I couldn't, no matter how much blocking I did, I just couldn't get it to drop down enough. So I'm assuming that's my stitching, not the pattern, because most half moon shawls I have that issue with. I need to work out how to fix that myself. It's obviously in the way that I knit. But yeah, so you started with sort of a basket weave piece, and then using short rows, you sort of worked onto this piece, which was done with sort of slip-in stitches, and then again short rows to do this lace effect piece that's like houses or castles, which actually looked really nice, really effective. And then you finished with a sort of a fanon, what's it called? My brain's just, you know what I mean, that border. So where you doing yarn over, mixing yarn overs and knit twos together. But yeah, so that was that border. And where you're doing the yarn over, the knit two together, you're actually purling as well. So it gives such a lovely texture to that piece. I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera at all, but yeah, but the texture there is lovely. This is in Rico Baby Soft, Baby something. It's one of their baby wools, so it's really soft. Soft and fluffy. It's got quite a nice halo on it. But yeah, and you did, I just carried the colours at the sides, but you did like a yarn over at the end of every row, and that's what sort of made this not too tight, which was a new way of stitching for me, to do a yarn over at the end and then drop it on the next row. Or you did a yarn over at the start of every row, that was it, and then obviously you dropped it when you went back the other way. So I just had to keep an eye on that when I got to the end of each row, that I wasn't then carrying on knitting, because I did do that a few times and I had to then unpick because the pattern was wrong then. But yeah, so that is that piece. Finely blocked, it's nice and warm, nice and soft, and ready for winter. So that's in a dark grey and a baby pink, and I will just chuck that down there and deal with folding it later because I'm unorganised. And this is oh gosh, I didn't write the name down. It's the Cadiz cardigan, C-A-D-I-Z, by, oh gosh, I didn't write it down. Oh, how bad am I? That is terrible. No, it's not that one. Hooked Designs, so hook and then D, designs, there we go. So yeah, so I did this in two colours from the Women's Institute range from Hobbycraft. This is in the teal and then the light blue, and it's finally finished. So yeah, so it's crocheted in a really unusual fashion. So you sort of stitch this piece first, the armpits, and then join it together across the back. But yes, this is a test stitch piece, sort of bell sleeves, and then a hood as well. So I found the hood quite pointy, so I added quite a big tassel onto the end of the hood just so that it didn't look as odd being pointy. I do need to block it just because this edge keeps rolling in, but that's the only part that actually needs blocking. The rest of it is quite good. This wool is Aran weight, so it's quite thick, it's quite warm, it's quite heavy. Yeah, I believe it used about 800 grams of the light and then about 200 grams of the dark, so it's about a kilo of wool in the Aran weight. But yeah, but it's really soft. It's called Soft and Cuddly, I believe, the wool. And yeah, so it is soft, it is cuddly, it's very thick, but it has got obviously the holes in from the chain stitches, so it's not as, you know, it's not as obviously heavy as if it was solid knit, solid crochet. So that was my test knit piece. So the only worry I have is with it starting under the armpits with the magic loop, it's quite thick where you've got that ring in, but I mean the sleeves are quite baggy, so I did the 2XL size for me, and so yeah, it's not like right up under your armpit, that knot, but I think if you did a smaller size that was a bit more snug, you might feel that, but yeah. So, and then this is the project that's been taking up all my time. So this is yeah, I didn't write this one down either, so this one future Zoe will have to deal with and write in. It is from Drops, it's a Drops design, so it's from Garn Studio, so it's a free pattern. I always vouch for them, they've got so many free patterns on their website, hundreds and hundreds of free patterns, so yeah, and I do like their patterns. This is the only one that I had a problem with, so I've converted it to stitching in the round, so the back and the two front pieces stitched all together. So I've added this stockinette section to the seam, just so when you're increasing it's not messing up your basket weave. Also because I'm quicker at knitting stockinette than basket weave, so there we go. But yeah, I did get to, let's see, I just finished the first repeat, so I got up to about there, and then I had to unpick and start again because the size that I'd done was way too small. So I picked a medium to do, which I figured would be fine because my granny's quite small. And yeah, once I got it up onto the circulars and actually stretched it out, it was way too small. So I'm actually doing her the extra large, so which is still going to be quite small. Like the extra large wouldn't fit me. I mean that's one seam, that's two, so that's the back piece. That's how wide it is. So obviously you can see that's not going to come around me at all. So yeah, this one isn't stitching up very small. I'm using 4 ply that I've got. It's thicker than 4 ply, but not as thick as double knit. So whilst I am using 4mm needles, it is making quite a light fabric. But yeah, so you've got a nice cable there with the kind of twisted stitches. So it combines cables and twisted stitches, bit of basket weaving. But yeah, so I had to unpick it and start all over again. So that took me like an extra sort of a good week of work out. I think it was about 10 days of work. Although it was faster the second time because I'd already mastered the pattern and I'd already got all my counting in my head, so it was a bit quicker to work through. But yeah, but I'm hoping to finish this for her for Christmas. So I've still got some time, obviously, but still a lot to do. So I think I'm about 2/3 to 3/4 the way up to the armpit, and then obviously once I reach the armpit, I'll be shaping onto the 2 to do the fronts and the back. So we'll be changing how I'm knitting to make space for the arms, and then the sleeves. Sleeves actually take longer than you think to knit. Thank you. So yeah, so I'm not looking forward to that, but yeah, and then I'll weave that in as I go. I don't like weaving the ends, so the more that I can get stitched sort of all in one, the better. So the less seams I can have, the better. But yeah, so hopefully I'll get this finished on time, but this is going to take up quite a lot of my stitching time, and it has been taking up a lot of my stitching time so far. But you know, we'll get there. So, and I believe that is everything that I wanted to say. Yeah, I have that, I have the hashtag, I have my shout outs, my whips, my goals, my Wipopoly, and yeah, so there we go. That's me all done. Oh, now I lie. See, I got it out special as well, and I forgot. I got a when I went to a craft fair, I took my mum to the local craft fair the other week, and this company there, so it's Craft Buddy, doing diamond painting kits. This is not a very good picture. If I can find a picture of what it's going to look like, I will show you. So this is my first diamond painting that I picked out, and I'm getting on okay. So obviously there's quite a lot of cat hair stuck in it already, so where the little sticky bits are. But yeah, so it's like a cottage. It's called Country Cottage. So you've got the cottage here, you've got a water fountain, bench, pathway, flowers, roses. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying doing this. It's quite quick. I think it took me 2 nights, sort of 2 evenings to do this. So once it was too dark to cross stitch, then I went on to this, because this it didn't need to be as bright. But yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far. I'm not sure if I sort of like the resolution of it. It's definitely one of those that you need to be standing quite far back from to see. But you know, we'll get there. It was something to try. I know a lot of people have been talking about them, so I thought, well, I'll get one. So yeah, we'll see how I get on. But yes, I've got all my little gems. I keep finding them where I've dropped them on the floor. So every so often I'll pick one up and be like, oh yeah, whoops. but yes, that came as a kit with obviously all the beads, not the beads, you know, the gems, your sticky thing, your wax, your trays. It all came in there, so I'm just using everything that came with it. It's working quite well. But yeah, so we'll see how I get on. That's about, it's not quite a third, I think, that I went down. So I've probably got, it'll probably take me maybe 5 more evenings to do, spread out. But obviously now my evenings are mainly took up with knitting, so don't know how long it will take me to get back around to it. But yeah, so if you have any favourite diamond paintings or, okay, I don't know. Oh, Coco wants to come back out again. Hello, Coco. In, out, in, out. Come on then. You come up to say ta-ra with me. Because yeah, I haven't really got a life update, nothing too exciting. Got you some new food, haven't we? Yeah, got you some new grub to try something new. Because I mean, the biscuits she's on, I mean, she's been on the same biscuits and they only do one flavour, and she's been on that for like 4 years. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll give her something different. So we're trying out something different. If we get on well, I will let you know. And but yeah, so you're gonna wave bye bye to all your fans. Yeah, you can say bye bye. Yeah. Anyway, but thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching, if indeed you still are. And I will see you soon. So have a lovely month, and I love you lots. Bye bye. And I'm doing as far as that strand of colour. Someone's blue faces at me through the window. Thanks for that. Right, it's blank on the bed. Okay, it's nearly gone. Right. So yeah. Oh, I'm not going to get involved. She's climbing on things. She's exploring in the sun. Yeah, we're going to start